Oh, yes. As this cost of living crisis kicks in, makes more sense to get out and grow week by week, doesn't it? We are here with the Happy Homesteaders and the Get Out and Grow Project, the Fresh Air team over there in Devon. How are you doing, Anna?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Yes, all keeping well.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Interesting episode tonight. All sorts of possibilities. Permaculture, water conservation. The themes that have been continuing for the last few weeks, it's getting exciting in the garden. So I think a few pictures as well from people's gardens. Great time of year. So we'll be featuring your photos if you care to send them in on 913-590-303. And Mr. Agate, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Quite looking forward to this show, actually. It's going to be pretty cool, I think. It was cool that you could get Helen back on, Anna. So it's going to be a really interesting show.
I should say at this point, that was probably me putting a spanner in the works there. I think Helen won't be with us on this particular week. We got a bit of a diary mix-up. These are all the gardening balls that we're juggling at the moment. We've been talking about doing water conservation because of the drought in Portugal for the last 3 weeks. This week, we might finally get round to it. And then next week or in the coming weeks, Helen will join us because she was fantastic, wasn't she? From the community projects in Plymouth. She'll be delighted to join us again. And I think we can see her as a bit of a sometime part-time team member as we go forward. So not so much of the permaculture and Helen tonight. That's me, sorry, putting a spanner in the works, and we'll see her in future weeks. Head Gardener McGrady, how's life in Lisbon today?
Very, very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful day today.
Really? Yeah. Not so much here on the Silver Coast.
Reached mid-20s this afternoon.
Right.
No rain yet today. Forecast rain for the rest of the week. What could be better?
Okay. Great start to the week.
Perfect Monday.
Yeah. And what have you been up to today? What's going on in the world of professional gardening?
Oh, I've been on my own garden today. So I put my courgettes in. I put some more onions out, and I potted my cherry tomatoes and peppers out today. I did a bit of turfing in the garden,
very nice.
The driveway. I used some broadleaf herbicide on my what's it called? Oh, clovers that's coming up in the lawn this winter. I've had some clover in the lawn over winter, so I've just sprayed them off today.
That clearly you don't want anymore.
No, I didn't want them to start with, but I let them get established before I sprayed them off. So now they're gone for good.
All right. Wow. Okay. Busy day in the garden.
Busy day.
Yes, absolutely. Same here. I've been out in the woods with the kids this afternoon, but I've taken some photographs of the growth in our garden, which I can't take much credit for, apart from building the raised beds. Thank you to Deagle as well, who sent in photos from his garden this afternoon, and anyone else who wants to. 913-590-303. That was well pointed out, John. We are not streaming live yet in the Facebook group of our own name of Get Out and Grow Happy Homesteaders. I've done it in. Currently, we are streaming on YouTube and on the Expats Portugal and Good Morning Portugal channels. I think it would be great if someone could share it across from one of those. I'll do it if that proves a little bit difficult, but we will do that as the show unfolds. And let's say hello to a few people. Baldilocks, good evening, everyone. I think Baldilocks is doing that in our time because the OLP is doing Good Morning in their time over there in Oregon. And the clocks have been going forward all over the place at different times. I think we've just about caught up, haven't we? Well, we'll never catch up, but we've just about made it a little bit easier for our American friends to tune in since this last weekend. And Deagle's really happy about the weather over there in Belfast. Everyone, evening to you. A warm, sunny day in Belfast. I made a water feature, bought water plants. Had an old Belfast sink. Now it's my new pride and joy. It had never occurred to me that I would see a Belfast sink in Belfast. I've loved Belfast sinks. I think they're an amazing, a lovely bit of, what would you call them? Architectural antique, aren't they? Inside the house or outside the house. And he's done a great job there, hasn't he? So they must originate in your hometown, Deagle. Tell us the history of the Belfast sink, if you will, and a water feature there. And also you sent us a pack shot of the water plants that you've chosen. If I can squint a little bit and say what these are, we've got Scripus, Thalia, Equistum, Lobelia, Rotala, and something else. I can't quite. Could you give us the names of those, please? But that looks wonderful. What you've got going on there in that lovely water feature in your garden. You don't have to have a lot of space, do you, to have a decent water feature, which is going to bring all sorts of benefits. What's going to happen with that, Lee, having a nice little water feature like that in the garden? Oh, we've lost him. You there, Lee? I heard a little bit of festa music in the background. It sounds like it was a passing Portuguese party over at Lee's house. But we've lost...
Well, let's carry on then, I suppose, until he returns.
Yeah, looking at some pictures of Deagle's garden. A few more there. We'll come back to that and the water feature and the benefits thereof. John, did you have an idea that you want to chip in with?
Not really. I was just trying to kill time because of Lee's technical issues, really.
Absolutely.
To make sure we could be carrying on.
All right. Well, let's take it in turns then to read the comments out this evening. Deagle saying 4 watching, 2 likes, and that sounds really nice, Deagle. Can you send pictures? He did already, and I've showed them there, OLP. Excellent. Do you want to read the Baldylocks one out? Let's do these one at a time, shall we? Let's do it in rotation. So after you, John.
My newly planted sunflowers are being consumed by a mystery insect.
Oh, dear.
They're eating all the plants down to the dirt. How do you grow plants without using insecticide?
My goodness. Okay, that's one for the head gardener when he returns. Would you like to do this one, Anna? I'll give you the difficult one in Portuguese.
Boa tarde, amigos. Is that Data Verde? Is it? Was that another?
I think that's the Green-Fingered Friends. Good afternoon to the Green-Fingered Friends from Andrew Gilchrist. What was it I just asked you, Lee, before you disappeared there? Was there like a festa going
It was
past?
about water features, and then it just all went.
Yes, it all went. There was the sound of music and you disappeared. So there's the picture.
Well, it's lovely, isn't it? Yeah,
it really is.
I do like Belfast. I do like the Belfast things. I made a lot of money on them. I used to find them in the old gardens and sell them on second hand to a shop in Oldham. We made a few good bob out of it. Yeah. Well, they become quite fashionable in the mid-90s.
Yes.
So they were lying around all over the council estates and all over the council yards, and we used to pick them up and flog them on.
Yeah.
Quite well out of it.
Yeah, because your grandma didn't really want one. As soon as you could get a nice stainless steel sink, it's not as if every time you dropped a plate into a stainless steel sink, it would break. Belfast sinks aren't actually that practical, are they, inside the kitchen? But they make a much nicer feature in a utility room or out in the garden, just as he's done there. So what benefits is he going to bring to himself by having a little water feature like that, Lee?
Well, there is a second design of the Belfast sink where it had a drain on the side of it.
Oh, yes.
And that was the one I used. That was the one I had my water feature in. So the water will trickle down the drainer into what we call the marsh pit. So you could grow marsh-loving plants in. And if you get your drainage right, the water would sit just long enough not to go stay up, and then would pass through the bottom drainage hole into a small collecting bucket and be put back up through and run back down the drainer.
Very good.
But you get away with growing all the aquatic plants you want, all the marsh-loving plants that you can't normally grow. But the insects love it, frogs love it. Yeah, there's some nice plants. I can't see the names of them.
No, but I think Deagle might well help us out. Yeah, Deagle might help us out with a few names there. What a lovely idea. Thank you very much for sharing that, Deagle. We had a question that we couldn't answer, but you might be good with, Lee. Newly planted sunflowers being eaten down to the ground. How do you grow sunflowers properly, or not properly, but how do you grow them successfully without using insecticides on your sunflowers?
Right, well, if I was struggling with an insect or any animal that was eating them, because the mice love them when they're coming up new, it might be actually mice and not insects that are doing it. So I would grow them on taller in a pot, so they were quite thick and sturdy before I put them out. I'll show you last year we did our wildflower bed. The sunflowers that were in that were actually grown in pots and taken down and added into the wildflower bed at a later date. So it's best to grow them onto a good size where they're strong enough to survive, and then you can put them out. Only 15 inches, and then top them out, and they should be fine. They're out the way of the mice by then.
When you say top them out, do you take them out of the pots, or do you put the whole pot into the ground?
No, you take them out of the pot. Yeah,
Take them out of the pot.
You can,
okay.
or you can keep in the pot and keep on the patio, which is they do quite well in a good sized pot.
Yeah.
They have no issues growing in pots.
Okay, very good.
When we did it in the garden, I would pop them out into the flower bed.
All right, brilliant. So had it occurred to you, Baldylocks, that it might be mice and not insects, hence the mystery? You can't actually see anything except an eaten plant stump when you get out to it in the morning. No laughing matter, but that might have solved the mystery there, and give them a chance indoors or away from the mice before you plant them out. Fantastic. Anna, you may have one or two leads for us on the old water conservation front. What have you come up with there?
Yeah, I'm just going to check what links I managed to find again.
While you're doing that, let's put a few more questions and comments up. I put smashed eggshells around the plants if it's slugs. Now, does this work? Because it's a bit hit or miss, isn't it? With depending, I suppose, on the size and type of your slug. Lee, we haven't talked about slugs for quite a while now.
Eggshells do work to an extent, yeah,
Okay.
but they're not really a long-term solution to it.
Right.
The best way to deal with them is to kill them, just to get rid of them.
All right.
All you're doing by putting the eggshells on is protecting that small area, which is nice if that's what you want to. Is that what you feel you need to do? But they'll just populate somewhere else, and at the end of the year they'll move in.
Yeah, because it's a bit like a holiday. An organic garden is like a spa for slugs, isn't it? Or a holiday camp, because they can go and get drunk on the beer and then have a little massage on the eggshells and have a right old time of it in your garden. So maybe Lee's approach is the best.
I do like the beer traps. I've never got upset about killing snails and slaughtering beer traps. I always think it's the best way to go. If I'm going to get wiped out, in a beer trap sounds perfect.
Yes, so it's not something you wouldn't wish on the slugs and snails, because you can imagine yourself going the same way. I understand. Good morning, gardeners. From Marty. Good morning to you, Marty. We do have a very obvious and different time zones today. Thank you for joining us, Marty. Oh, and from Washington DC, Sue is here, everybody. From Washington DC, I finally made it. I wussed out on pronouncing your surname there. You will take a phonetic translation on that. Sorry, Sue, for that. Look at this. Deagle planted 171 sunflowers last week in plastic egg boxes. Why that particular number? Is that your power number, Deagle? 171. Is there a significance to that? I wonder. And what's this?
Egg boxes in sixes.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? So
yes. That work out. I can't. I'm not good at maths. Yeah.
No, but that sixes don't go into that in a
Get a
round.
calculator out.
Yeah, but I think he ran out of sunflower season, not egg boxes, is what I'm thinking. Use chili and water after sitting 6 to 8 weeks.
I just like the fact they counted them.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. 171. And that could become a thing, couldn't it? In 100 years' time, there might be gardeners who have heard that it's good to plant sunflowers in batches of 171. And no one quite knows why they do it, but it started in Belfast with Deagle. Eric's here as well from Mexico. Greetings all. How are you doing, mate? Great to see you. Oh, John, do you want to take this one for Lee? Oh, we need you unmuted, mate. It always helps.
Yes, I need to unmute myself. So the question being, Andrews, and it's mowed lawns for the first cut of the year really short. What is good for keeping moss at bay? I plan to scarify the I can't read that word. Aeration
and scarification.
The ground, but what lawn feed care routine is recommended?
We've got Lee's frozen up again.
I'm
thinking, oh yeah, you're back now.
Am I back?
Yeah, give it a go.
Okay, yeah. A little bit of a tip when you're mowing the lawn: never take more than a third off the grass in one cut. If you imagine the grass as like as a plant in itself, each blade is a plant in itself. If you cut it too short, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna severely damage it. So never take more than a third off when you're mowing. Which is why you've seen photos of me with my measuring stick, measuring the grass to see how much we've got of it.
Nice.
So, especially at this time of year, you don't want to cut it too short. It's been laid dormant all winter. It's not really ready yet to be bursting into life. So, might have been a bad idea to mow it so short first time. But for the moss, especially back in the UK, the best way to deal with moss is with a sharp sand. It's like a builder sand, and that it technically kills the moss. It's a moss killer. You spread it thinly across the surface of your lawn and sweep it in hard, and it changes the pH level just on the surface of the lawn, and the moss can't tolerate it. So you cast your sharp sand over it, leave it a week with a stiff rake, and you can scarify it through with a rake. And aeration is a good time of year as well now. Aeration is where you take a fork and you plug the fork into the ground, leaving small holes, and that allows drainage, and it allows the frost to get in, and it allows the air to move, and the bacteria in the soil to generate themselves. So yeah,
and it's a great way of finding underground pipe work as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's a brilliant way of destroying water systems. Yeah. As I have learned from my short period of time with gardening Portugal.
Yes. Anna, is it just me, or when you saw Scarify, did you think immediately of Queen? And the question here is: do you Scaramouche, or do you do the fandango on your lawn there? And hopefully, with a bit of rain, you get thunderbolts and lightning. That is very frightening, isn't it? That how my mind works. Very frightening indeed. Hi, guys, from Jason. Yay! Jason's in as well. And Sue, whose name I will try and pronounce now, Suvanavong. It's not that difficult, is it? Suvanavong. This channel is very helpful. How do I become a premium member? Well, you do that on our homepage, expatsportugal.com. That's the place to do it. Just scroll down a bit after you've got to expatsportugal.com. You can become a premium member right there. You can join free and get a whole load of benefits from the 10,000 membership that we have on our forum there. And you can accelerate your plans to move to Portugal if you'll permit me here, gardeners, just to promote that for a moment. If you want a step-by-step handheld accelerator for getting to Portugal, Premium Plus is for you. But there you go. Premium member, 17 a month or 97 for the year. Thank you very much, Sue, for your support with that. Sharon H. Budard from Sintra. Hey, Sharon, how are you doing? Great to have you here. Moaz is in as well. Suzanne here too from Washington, D.C. Oh, look at this. I also lift seaweed. Put into containers after 8 weeks. Great plant food. So, yeah, if you go to the seaside, is it just good to pick up any old seaweed, Lee? And is that allowed?
Yeah. Any of it. Yeah.
All right.
Obviously, the fresher the better. But put it in like a straining bag, like a haystack bag. Drop it in the water. Leave it for as long as you can until it really starts to stink, and that's when it's at its best.
So you want it fresh when you're driving 5 hours back from the coast, basically, don't you? In the car.
Your bin men are never happy with you when you put it out in the bin the week after it's come out of the water, because it stinks. We just had a hello from Sintra. Is that the same lass that was trying to feed the birds last week? And if it was, how did she get on?
Right, Yes.
Did she try to feed the birds and she had any success?
Very good. We have some bird pictures. We'll come back to you, OLP, with more slug or anti-slug measures from you in Oregon. But look at these lovely pictures this week from Owen. This is Owen. Look, actually, I've got a couple of rainbows. To show you. This is Paul's rainbow in central Portugal. Not really a gardening picture, but can you imagine if that was at the bottom of your garden, which it is for Paul? Isn't that amazing? So we saw that rainbow.
Well,
then we go on to another rainbow behind Owen there. So sorry, Lee, go on.
It is a gardening photograph. It's the best gardening photograph. It shows rain. It shows it's been raining. Because the rainbow only starts in a wet spot and it finishes in a wet spot. So we're all happy when we see rainbows.
Pot of gold at the end of it. And there's another one. There's the human pot of gold that is Owen. And he's sent in some superb pictures to us. We have on the bird on a wire. Look at this. We have a buzzard, he thought, in the valley today. That's Silver Coast, nearish, inland, the interior, back from the Silver Coast. There's a close-up of that same buzzard.
Now, that does look like a buzzard, but that doesn't.
Okay, but in the sky here, you think perhaps not. Something with more fringed wing feathers and a long tail.
Yeah, That's not a classic buzzard silhouette, to be honest.
Okay.
It possibly could be if it's the same bird. I might be mistaken, but yeah.
And then back down to earth in the
That's not
garden.
a
Isn't
buzzard.
that is not a buzzard. That's the sort of thing a buzzard likes to catch in the garden if it gets a chance, right? That is a fantastic cockerel in pretty much on the ground around Owen there in the same area, having a little peck at some citrus. I think that's a beautiful photograph. Thank you so much, Owen. Uncle Krusty and Claudia sent in this from down south. Storks are coming back, aren't they? Look at that. Fabulous. Love seeing the stork. It's like seeing prehistoric pterodactyls in the sky when you see the storks. And then just one more bird picture. This is Anna's effort trying to catch the swallows. Not easy to do. That little blur, top left-hand corner. Swallows, house martins, and what are the other ones? Swifts.
Swifts.
How do we tell them apart, Lee?
Oh, good question. House martins have a bit of red on them.
Yeah.
And I think the swifts and swallows are slightly different sizes. I think the swift's a bit smaller than the swallow.
Okay.
I think the wingspan of the swallow's a bit long, a bit wider.
All right.
But I remember when I
timing.
first came here, and they were on the girlfriend's balcony, and they used to come and land on the windowsills and scoop round the big circle at the bottom. Oh, I loved it because I was above them for the first time ever. I'd always been beneath them, and now I was in the apartment. I was above them looking down. Fascinated me for hours.
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, they're so agile in the air, aren't they? So, Sharon, that question to you: how'd you get on with putting food out or feed out for the birds? And lovely to be able to show a few bird pictures there. And also, back to the OLP, I have used tobacco strained water to spray plants. Is that for slugs or other purposes, Lee?
What a waste of tobacco.
There you go. Short shrift. Anna, any luck on your bird table recently?
I did manage. I'm trying to remember what day it was now. I did manage to see a woodpecker. I think I'm told actually we tend to get a female one coming. I think here because of because I know I think I seem to remember the male greater spotted has got red on its head and under the tail, and I think the female has only got red. I think it's just on the tail. I think, and I had one of those typical moments. I went to try and get my phone being subtle as I can not to move, and it actually took off before I even got the camera on video, so didn't manage to get it this time, but I did happen to see at my aunt and uncle's in Pen here in Devon. They do actually get a jay that tends to come. It is quite nervous, but we did actually manage to see it briefly land on the main garden, so we did get to see a little bit of a good sighting of it. It's sort of almost orangey colour with a little bit of blue and black and white, so they're quite almost the same size as a pigeon, but they're quite shy. So yeah, don't often see those.
Yep, so beautiful, isn't it, to see a jay? Lovely bit of colour in an English country garden there, or even in a town garden. I didn't see any snail trails as Baldylocks. I have a few in containers, and that works okay. So that's about the sunflowers that are being grown there. Nice tip, Lee, thank you. Evening to my green-fingered friends. We got it first time when Anna read the Portuguese there. And evening all from Leslie Smith. Not tobacco, but Tabasco.
Tabasco, there you go. That makes sense, yeah.
Hot news just in. Okay, we are growing a few papaya trees. Some of them have lots of eggs from the red spider plague. Is that or a plague? Do you know of any good natural remedies for the red spider? And is it normal for them to lose many yellow leaves there?
Well, no, and it'll be the red spiders that are doing the damage as well. It's never good. Jay's fluid is fantastic. If you can still get Jay's fluid, put it in a 50-50 mix with water into a sprayer, and spray lightly. It's great for red spiders, and that's the same if you got chickens, because chicken sheds and chicken coops attract red spiders like you wouldn't believe. So
really,
same Jay's fluid 50-50 mix. Yeah,
I've got one to build, Lee. I've got a chicken coop to build. It's just it got lost in the Portuguese post, but thankfully it turned up today. But it's worryingly small, the box. And we're thinking it doesn't look like as big enough to be what was in the picture that we ordered, but I'll find out in the next few days. But looking forward to that. And Jay's fluid is a kind of strong disinfectant, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They stopped selling it in the UK for a short time because it was being misused. But it is the best for the red spiders, for the spider mites that you get with chickens as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Anna or John, anything take your fancy from the comment or the chat, or anything to say about water conservation?
I've just seen a question coming up. We've also got a fairly another question from one of the new members, Beverly, as well. That's came in the week as well. Just working out which one to go with. Sue's question was, how do I grow Thai chili pepper inside an apartment?
Oh, nice.
The other question is a slightly longer one.
Yeah, Thai chili
peppers. Chili peppers are really easy. When you open the chili, it's full of seeds. You can start them on a bit of tissue paper, on a damp piece of tissue paper, not in direct sunlight. As soon as you start to see a bit of a foot coming out of the seed, pop them into soil. You'll only need a couple of them to germinate.
Beautiful.
Because they grow quite quickly. But if you're in Portugal, don't put them in the midday sun. They won't like it. Either give them plenty of sun in the morning or plenty of sun in the late afternoon. But try and keep out that midday sun on the windowsill, because they won't tolerate it. And
so perfect windowsill. Yeah, so perfect windowsill in the morning sun, and a lovely bit of colour. Once they start firing up, sort of literally, and you see the chili peppers on it, it's lovely to have inside, isn't it? And you can just pluck one and put it on your dinner. Fantastic. That's real fast food.
If you really look after it, you'll get it right up to Christmas. I mean, when being in the apartment, they produce for a long time.
Okay.
I tried to overwinter one outdoors and almost succeeded here last winter. But yeah, they produce, and you never have to buy another chili for the rest of the year. They're
great
perfect.
Stuff. Good to know. And I'm reminded of a little word of caution here. The obvious thing with chilies, if you're taking the seeds out, wash your hands, don't itch your eyes or anywhere else sensitive in your body. But my brother-in-law, we gave him a chili plant. I think it was when we were moving to Portugal. We'd grown a nice big chili plant, gave it to the father and mother-in-law. And my brother-in-law was around the house, and he bent over to sniff the chili plant. And you know what's happened?
Got the cane in his eye.
Yes.
I know
Now,
what's happened.
This is a thing to watch out for, because you can't see a cane from the plan view, can you? And you have to be really careful with that. And there are the little things you can stick on them in from garden centres, right? If that's going to be a problem.
Well, called plastic plant pots.
Just stick a plant pot on top, little ones.
Just a plastic plant pot on top. Yeah.
Perfect. But you just can't see it, can you? You go down to sniff it on a herb or something, and you get a poke in the eye instead. So word of caution.
I've never had it happen to me, but I know loads of people that have had quite severe injuries through canes.
It's got to hurt.
Yeah, it's never
horrible.
Nice. Yeah.
Horrible. There we go. Fiona and Simon are in. Good evening to all the happy homesteaders. Good evening to you, Fiona and Simon. With a question, look, but blackberry canes and teasel stems on the ground around plants seems to deter those slimy slugs and snails. Teasel stems, great idea. They're spiky, aren't they? And the spiky canes. What a great idea. Very good. Thank you very much for being here. And yes, Beer Trap's also working in Oregon tonight. So we can't evade the water conservation thing for another week, can we, folks? What have we got? Nothing. We're gonna have to evade it again. Another week.
I didn't realise.
Go on, Anna. I think we've got a few nice links, haven't we? Maybe they can go in the chat as well. They cut and paste into the chat, would be great. But I know you had some great ideas earlier on, Anna. Grey water conservation. Have you ever done that, Lee? Have you ever taken the grey water coming out of the house, which is what could be washing up water, could be the machine, the washing machine, the shower
water, bath water. I've used it all. Especially when I was up at the cottage in Scotland, because I wasn't connected to the mains water. When we first took the cottage on, it used to run out into what's technically what was becoming the garden. So I made a little catchment for it there, so I could use it on my veg, because we had no mains water; it was all well water. So that's when I first started doing it. But we do it here in Portugal. We do it with the washing up liquid water that goes onto the beds. The water we use for soaking the clothes in before we wash them in the machine, that goes onto the beds. The gutter water off the house and the outdoor kitchen, that all goes onto my favourite lawn. But I'm putting a drainage catchment system in to catch that as well. I'm going to start catching and saving that.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to say. It's incredible here in Portugal how few roofs have gutters on them, right? And then some of them will have that funny chain, ornamental chain thing. Why are there so few roofs in Portugal with gutters on?
We added it. We put the drain on. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it was annoying me, because when I took the lawn up, the drain used to protrude, the roof protruded out away from the building, so the rainwater would drop onto the lawn. So when I took the grass off it, it was just leaving divots in all the time, where the rain was coming out and it was washing my seeds away. So I had to put a gutter on. So yeah.
I think there's a great business opportunity in that for somebody in Portugal. And I noticed when I was looking at my neighbour's garden, they've got a clip-on system. So they've not drilled into the building. They've actually got this system of guttering where it clips onto the roof tile. So there must be some sort of proprietary system out there that you could get from a garden centre or Leroy Merlin. It clips on, and then you can guide it into a collector of some sort. I don't know, John, if you've got any little puns or jokes about water conservation. Or do you not want it to be the butt of jokes tonight, water conservation?
Well, that's a good one, Carl. But despite being a good opportunity for some one-liner jokes and being the butt of those jokes, as you say, Carl, it is actually a serious subject.
It is, John.
And then obviously, like you say, water butts are a good way. I think mulching was another one we were talking about the other week, wasn't it? So yeah, and I see Anna's put a link in our private chat.
Oh, good one, nice one, Anna. That can go straight in the public chat by all means. If you're trying,
I don't know.
All right, cheers, John. I think a bit of a drought on the humour there around water conservation, it could be said. If you want to try to keep Kate off your plants, don't bother with eggshells because it doesn't work for her, apparently, if you want to keep her off your plants.
Like I said, you've got to use a lot of them, and it's only really for small areas. If you've got a large bedded area, it's just not going to work for you. Because you can't get them dense enough.
However, eggshells are great to scare off salamanders. Perhaps they think that a big animal is eating eggs bigger than themselves. That's an interesting psychological angle on that, isn't it?
Why would you scare off the salamanders? I love them.
Oh, there you go. 11 boxes of 15 egg boxes, then 1 box of 6. There you go. There's the math. He's done the math on that. No, says Sharon in Sintra. I took your advice against the bird feeder and planted sunflowers instead. Yes, thank you, Sharon.
Excellent.
Currently renting a home, so I can't get too crazy with planting shrubs as of yet. I bet that doesn't stop you, though, Sharon. Every time you go to a garden centre, little potted plant here, little potted plant there. Next thing you know, you'll have a balcony full of...
I would also suggest if you're renting somewhere, just chuck an handful of wildflower seeds out. They're so cheap, and they cost nothing. But you'll get them for this spring. So if you put them out now, they'll be there all summer. They'll attract the butterflies and the bumblebees, and then the birds later. And they're so cheap and easy to do. And you only need a very small area. We actually did 2 20-litre pots last year with wildflower seeds in as well. So you can actually do wildflower seeds in a pot, which the birds and the insects love. Up in Sintra, the butterflies there, they're all over it.
Oh, sounds fantastic. Pictures, please, Sharon, in the coming weeks and months. That would be great. I'm noticing more butterflies around. Are you at the moment, Lee?
Oh, yeah. The wisteria is out at the house.
Oh, I've got a picture.
And the bougainvillea is just starting. And at weekend, the bees and the butterflies were everywhere on the wisteria. You couldn't see the flowers for the insects. It was amazing.
There you go. That's the wisteria in a public garden in Tamar by the river. I was in Tamar over the weekend, and we'd been to visit Jenny B in her woodland home, which was the kids absolutely loved being in the wood and they're messing about with clay and sticks and all sorts. They had a fantastic time right in central Portugal in the deepest, darkest woods. Thank you, Jenny B, so much. It was a lovely afternoon, and then went into town and saw beautiful wisteria blooms like that in the town as well. Great fun. Okay, yes, and the continuation of Sharon's question there then for you, Lee. So she's planted the sunflowers. I'm sure she'll take your advice on wildflower seeds, but any other potted plants or trees you'd suggest?
If you're not going to own the place, So you don't want anything that's going to be too big and too heavy to move around in the future. Well, what am I thinking? Don't bother. Do veg in it. Get some nice pots and grow your veg. Do your herbs. Tomatoes. I've put my cherry tomatoes in pots this year again. I've done my peppers in pots again this year. So don't concern yourself so much with the flowers and do more potted vegetables. Because tomatoes cost a fortune here at the moment.
Yes, indeed.
No, we used to get a cardboard cupful from Aldi, and they were 99 cents last year. They're now 171. So
wow,
yeah, almost double the price.
Yep. Okay, interesting times. Let's. So I've put those links. Thank you, Anna, for researching those. That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, John or Anna, if you've got anything, do pipe up and chime in. Tobacco water. Is it tobacco or is it Tabasco? I'm confused now. Can be used as an insecticide in a spray bottle, but Lee would rather smoke it, I think, than waste it like that.
We used to use nicotine to clean the greenhouses with to get rid of the monsters in the greenhouses over winter. We used to use little nicotine tablets.
Oh, okay. Horrid spider mite gardeners, the bane on fruiting crops there. And Eric's enjoying that tip. That's a really good one, isn't it? That's a proper trick of the trade there while we wait for Lee to come back. I have a David Austin Gertrude Jekyll, which seems to be struggling after the winter. Any tips? I knew that was a rose variety. Any tips to invigorate the rose roots? We'll come back to that. I just became a premium member. Sue, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for the pepper tips. I thought she was saying the prepper tips. We do prepper tips and pepper tips here on the Happy Homesteaders Get Out and Grow. Monday nights, every Monday evening, 6:15 Portugal time, apart from the first Monday when we have a meeting, which will be next Monday, won't it, gang? I think we'll be having our inner chamber, won't we, next Monday, which will be the first Monday of the month. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Don't use bleach when washing clothes. I killed a beautiful ruby red grapefruit tree using grey water from the washing machine. Baldilocks, another great tip there. A few safety tips coming in, and that's one of them, isn't it? Yes, looking after your stock, safety tip there. I have to go now, but I'll watch the replay soon. Cheers, Eric. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the help. Wish you all a nice day. Likewise to you, mate. Water tip. Plumb gutter down pipes into a water butt. There we go. I also use bark chips, stable manure over the top of beds. Do love the phrase stable manure as opposed to unstable manure. You can direct your rain off from the guttering into a 205-litre blue barrel or similar to use in the garden. Thank you, Fiona and Simon, for that. There's the links there. You might have to cut and paste them out of that context, but thank you very much, Anna, for doing that. And Marcus Valbon is here. Good evening to you, Marcus. I haven't seen you for ages, mate. How are you doing? Couple more pickies from my garden, and if I might share them in the last 5 minutes. If you want to share pictures of your own garden, 913-590-303. Look at this. There's a particular shot of the garden. Suburban garden. Oh, I'm going to show this off to Lee now he's back. Suburban garden, folks, it is possible to grow food. In the foreground, there's some amazing heads of lettuce that Mrs. Emma's done. Some cabbage. What we've really benefited from this year is what they call the New Zealand perpetual spinach. That's grown beautifully. Love that. And there's some big cabbage growing there as well. She's done an amazing job. And old seeds. I don't know if you've got a tip for these, Lee. That suitcase that I salvaged from by the bins here in Portugal, she's just got rid of all the old seeds in there and just scattered them in to see what grows. Is that what you do when you're not quite sure of old seeds?
No, I've only ever done it once before when all the seeds are in the bottom of my bag because I keep all my seeds in a carrier bag. And one year they got shaken about a bit, and all the seeds are in the bottom of the carrier bag. I just broadcasted them across a bed. Did the same. Just saw what comes through. That was actually quite good fun because the kids were young at the time and they could identify what was the different plants that were coming through.
Superb.
Yeah, and I think it was a good learning tool for the kids. Yeah.
You've always been a broadcaster by the sound of it. And there's another view. You can see the leeks and the onions coming up there by the lettuces there. Really pleased with that. And I have to make a confession, Lee. I did that with a strimmer yesterday, that lawn. So from what you were saying before, that's just going to kill my grass, is it? Doing it like that?
It won't kill it, but it won't help any. It'll knock it back a bit. It'll thin it out. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And this is what we like to see. The young fella here, before I cut the grass, as you can see there, watering his plants. He's got some sunflowers in. He's enjoying himself. That's what we want, isn't it? To get the younger generation interested. And I don't know if you've got any more tips on how to do that. Sunflowers, the obvious thing, isn't it?
I like it.
Kids... really get to
I
see
like
the
him being outdoors with his ripped jeans on, not sitting on a computer. Outside with the ripped jeans. Yeah, just like me.
With the ripped jeans on. Yes, go on, John.
Just one thing. Just don't forget Andrew's question before the end of the show. That's all I was just going to say.
Yes, absolutely. What was it, John? I can't find it. Can you find that for us?
I will do. Hang on a moment.
Do they tap the maples in Portugal syrup? Have we ever seen it?
Yes, I'll just read it out now. I have a David Austin Gertrude Jekyll, which seems to be struggling after the winter. Any tips on how to invigorate the rose roots?
I'm not sure what it is, to be honest. So I'm going to have to say, no, I'll have to Google.
Okay.
I didn't quite hear the plant properly. What was it? A type of rose?
David Austin Gertrude Jekyll, apparently. I've not heard of it either, to be honest.
Is it a type of rose?
Apparently, yes.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, manure. Yeah, just plenty of manure around the base of it and water it in. So don't dig it into the soil, put it around the base of the plant and water it into the soil and not digging it in.
Very good. Very good. There you go. Give that a go. And are native Portuguese flower seeds available in garden centres? Before we go back to Fiona and Simon's question finally, they are?
They are. The ones that I only do, the ones that I like are native Portuguese ones. The ones I like are more like a European mix. But I have seen packets of the Portuguese mix. I've seen them in some of the local garden centres. So, yeah, they are available.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, and then an interesting question. I've seen them tapping on pine trees, I think, for the pine resin. I actually got some on my hands in the woods that it was so pungent and powerful. It's amazing, isn't it? It clears your nostrils. It's amazing. But have you ever seen a maple tree being tapped in Portugal for syrup?
Oh, dang.
I haven't, but I suspect they will do because they don't miss a trick here. If it's possible, they'll do it.
They will, won't
they? I've never seen it.
Yeah. Okay. OLP, try looking for Jerry Baker's gardening book. It has lots of solutions. He used to show on PBS. I have used some of his tips. Jerry Baker, a household name, not unlike Lee McGrady. Well, he's fast becoming one anyway because he's here every Monday evening. We won't be with you next week. We'll be with you in 2 weeks' time after our Monday meeting. Thanks, everybody, tonight. I think there's a few, maybe one or two outstanding questions. Anna, John, understand if you've got to go.
I was just checking if I read Beverly's question out. That was the only one I had written down. It was a bit of a long questions in questions.
Go on then. What we got?
It was, can you recommend flowering fruiting plants that don't need too much attention to grow up 2 telegraph poles? I think I sent a picture for this one as well. The telegraph poles externally hold up the roof. And what options are available to enable the plants to take hold onto the poles? She's considering passion fruits, but also would love wisteria.
Very nice.
Yeah, you can grow both from containers to grow them up the pole, and you can actually grow them both at the same time up the same pole. Nice. I mean, I would always recommend the wisteria because they're just stunning. So start the wisteria this year and let it get a bit more established. So you get a thicker trunk on it. And then you can grow any of your fruiting veg, any of your fruiting climbers can be grown up the wisteria. And they'll climb up. The passion fruit will be fine, but you can grow peas and beans up it and you can harvest it as you go along. So using the wisteria as a frame. But yeah, I do like wisteria when you grow up telegraph poles. They look fantastic.
And they're not as fussy here, are they, as they can be back in the UK? Because in the UK, it's like, it won't flower for 25 years. Here, they're like a weed, aren't they, the wisterias?
Yeah, and they last much longer than they do in the UK as well. The flowers last much longer than they do in the UK. So,
yeah. And are you getting the jasmine now, Lee? Are you getting the scent of jasmine in the air? I've noticed that here in this part of Portugal.
It's been in flower for nearly 4 weeks here now.
And you're getting a nice waft in the evening?
Oh, yeah. I must have planted 30, 40 different jasmine in different gardens over the winter period with the promise of they'll be fine, you'll love them in the spring. And now each customer I'm going to who are new to the jasmine and new to the garden are all commenting how amazing they are. Yeah.
Fantastic. What a result. Beautiful. Okay. Thanks all from the Oregonians loving Portugal. Thank you, Sue, for becoming a premium member live on air tonight. That was fantastic. Have a great day, evening. Thank you. And thanks to all the other premium members, by the way. Don't feel left out with that. Thanks for another great gardening tips. Love time spent in the garden. It's not wasted, is it? Time spent in the garden is not time wasted. So many helpful tips. Thank you. Thank you, Lee, for providing those. Thank you, Anna and John, for being here. John, I think you need a bit of a kip, mate. I think you've been robbed of an hour. It's making you a bit tired this evening, isn't it? It has me. I'll be
yeah,
honest.
I know. It's. I'm feeling very tired. I think it's the whole clocks moving about thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm feeling more tired than I normally do.
Okay, well, you go get a rest, mate, and we'll have a rest next week as well. And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks' time. Cheers, Lee. Cheers, Anna. Thank you, John. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in this evening. Take care and bye for now.